Let's start with the introduction and set the stage for our discussion. Welcome to Chatbotcasts and Happy New Year. Today, we're celebrating the iconic New Year's Eve festivities in New York City. Joining me is an expert who will guide us through the history, traditions, and unique experiences of this global event. What can our listeners expect to learn from our conversation today?
Well, Happy New Year to everyone listening, Lisikek. It's exciting to be here talking about one of the world's most iconic celebrations. Today, we'll delve into the rich history of New Year's Eve in New York City, from its humble beginnings to the grand spectacle it is now. We'll start with the early days, when New Yorkers would gather around Trinity Church in Lower Manhattan to hear the church bells ring in the new year. This tradition dates back as far as 1698, when a bell was first installed in Trinity's steeple, and it was a major event by the mid-19th century. As we move forward, we'll discuss how Times Square became the new hub for New Year's celebrations. This shift began in 1904, thanks in part to Adolph Ochs, the publisher of the New York Times, who organized elaborate festivities, including fireworks displays, to draw people to the area. However, when fireworks were banned in 1907 due to safety concerns, Ochs introduced the iconic ball drop, inspired by maritime timekeeping methods. We'll also explore the evolution of the Times Square ball, from its first iron and wood construction to the modern crystal and LED versions, and how this event has become a global phenomenon, watched by over 1 billion people each year. Additionally, we'll touch on some of the unique aspects and variations of the celebration over the years, including the wartime years when the ball drop was suspended, and how the tradition has adapted to modern times. So, get ready for a fascinating journey through the history, traditions, and the enduring appeal of New York City's New Year's Eve celebrations.
Let's dive into the specifics of how Times Square became the hub for New Year's Eve celebrations. Can you tell us more about Adolph Ochs' role in 1904 and how the first New Year's Eve celebration in Times Square was organized?
Certainly, let's dive deeper into Adolph Ochs' role in transforming Times Square into the New Year's Eve hub we know today. In 1904, Adolph Ochs, the publisher of the New York Times, played a pivotal role in shifting the city's New Year's Eve celebrations from Lower Manhattan to Times Square. Ochs had just successfully lobbied the city to rename the intersection of Broadway, 42nd Street, and 7th Avenue after his newspaper, creating Times Square. To draw people to this new area, Ochs organized elaborate New Year's Eve fireworks displays at the New York Times building, which was then located at 1 Times Square. These fireworks displays were a huge success, attracting hundreds of thousands of people. However, by 1907, the city banned fireworks due to safety concerns, particularly the hot ash that rained down on the city. This is where Ochs' ingenuity came into play. He needed a new way to captivate the crowd, and he turned to a maritime tradition, the time ball. Inspired by time balls used to signal time for ships, Ochs commissioned Jacob Starr of Strauss Signs to create a time ball for the New Year's Eve celebration. This first ball, made of iron and wood, weighed 700 pounds, was 5 feet in diameter, and was illuminated by 100 incandescent light bulbs. It was hoisted on the building's 70-foot flagpole and dropped at midnight to signal the start of the new year. This innovative approach not only kept the tradition alive, but also marked the beginning of the iconic Times Square ball drop, which has since become a global spectacle. So, in essence, Ochs' vision and adaptability transformed Times Square into the heart of New York City's New Year's Eve celebrations, a legacy that continues to this day.
Given the maritime origins of the time ball, can you elaborate on how this concept was adapted for the Times Square New Year's Eve celebration, and what made it so significant in replacing the fireworks display?
The adaptation of the maritime time ball concept for the Times Square New Year's Eve celebration was a genius move by Adolph Ochs, given the circumstances. To understand its significance, let's break it down. Maritime time balls were used to signal the exact time to ships at sea, typically by dropping a ball from a high point at a precise moment, such as noon. This method was reliable and visible from a distance. Ochs took this idea and applied it to the New Year's Eve celebration, transforming it into a symbolic and visually captivating event. When the city banned fireworks in 1907 due to safety concerns, Ox needed something equally impressive but safer. The time ball, with its maritime roots, offered a perfect solution. The first ball, designed by Jacob Starr of Strauss Signs, was made of iron and wood, illuminated by 100 incandescent light bulbs, and weighed 700 pounds. It was hoisted on the 70-foot flagpole of the New York Times building and dropped at midnight to signal the start of the new year. This innovation was significant for several reasons. First, it provided a dramatic and visible way to mark the start of the new year, replacing the fireworks display with something just as attention-grabbing but much safer. Second, it leveraged the latest technology of the time, electric lighting, which was still a marvel to many people. The use of light bulbs made the event a spectacle that drew in even more people. Finally, the time ball drop became an instant tradition, capturing the imagination of the public and solidifying Times Square as the central location for New Year's Eve celebrations in New York City. This event has since evolved, with the ball being updated several times to incorporate new technologies and designs, but the core concept remains the same, a symbolic and visually stunning way to usher in the new year.
Given the significance of the Times Square ball drop, can you describe what makes this event so iconic and how it has become a global phenomenon, drawing in over 1 billion viewers each year?
The Times Square ball drop is truly an iconic event, and its global appeal can be attributed to several factors. First and foremost, it's the culmination of a rich history that spans over 115 years. The event has evolved from its humble beginnings, where Adolph Ox introduced the time ball to replace fireworks, to the modern spectacle it is today. One of the key reasons it's so iconic is its universal appeal. The countdown to midnight is a shared experience that transcends geographical boundaries. People from all over the world tune in to watch the ball drop, whether they are in Times Square itself or watching from their homes. This global reach is facilitated by extensive media coverage, making it one of the most watched events worldwide. The event itself is a masterclass in production, featuring live performances by top musicians, elaborate lighting, and the majestic descent of the ball. The current ball, for instance, is 12 feet in diameter, weighs nearly 6 tons, and is adorned with 2,688 crystal triangles and over 32,000 LEDs, creating a kaleidoscope of colors that captivate the audience. Additionally, the ceremony is steeped in tradition, yet continuously adapts to modern times. From the wartime years when the ball drop was suspended and replaced with moments of silence and chimes, to the current era where it is ceremonially activated by special guests and the mayor of New York City, the event has managed to stay relevant and engaging. Overall, the combination of history, spectacle, and global connectivity makes the Times Square ball drop an event that is both deeply rooted in tradition and universally celebrated.
Let's move on to the various traditions and iconic events associated with New Year's Eve in New York City. Besides the Times Square ball drop, what other traditional events and activities can people enjoy, such as fireworks displays or the midnight run in Central Park?
While the Times Square ball drop is undoubtedly the centerpiece of New York City's New Year's Eve celebrations, there are several other traditional events and activities that people can enjoy. One notable event is the Midnight Run in Central Park, which is a unique way to ring in the new year. This 4-mile run, organized by the New York Road Runners, starts at the stroke of midnight and offers a festive and active alternative to the crowds in Times Square. It's a great way for runners and spectators alike to celebrate the start of a new year in a more dynamic and healthy manner. Another tradition, though not as widely practiced today, is the time ball at the Titanic Memorial Lighthouse in the Seaport area. Although it no longer drops at noon, this historic time ball serves as a reminder of the maritime roots of the Times Square ball drop and adds a touch of nostalgia to the city's New Year's Eve heritage. For those looking for a more low-key celebration, many neighborhoods around New York City host their own New Year's Eve parties and fireworks displays. For example, the Brooklyn Bridge and Prospect Park often have fireworks displays that are less crowded than Times Square, but still offer a festive atmosphere. Overall, New York City offers a diverse range of activities and events to suit different tastes and preferences, ensuring that everyone can find a way to celebrate the start of a new year that suits them.
Let's talk about the various venues where people can celebrate New Year's Eve in New York City. What are some of the best family-friendly options for those looking to avoid the crowds in Times Square, and what can they expect in terms of atmosphere and pricing?
For those looking to avoid the crowds in Times Square, but still want to enjoy a family-friendly New Year's Eve celebration, there are several excellent options around New York City. One of the best alternatives is the Brooklyn Bridge Park. Here, you can enjoy stunning views of the Manhattan skyline and the Statue of Liberty while watching the fireworks display over the harbor. The atmosphere is more relaxed and less crowded than Times Square, making it an ideal spot for families. The event is usually free, although some areas might require tickets for special viewing sections. Another great option is Prospect Park in Brooklyn. The park hosts a family-friendly celebration with live music, food vendors, and a fireworks display at midnight. This event is also free and offers a more laid-back atmosphere, perfect for families with children. If you're looking for something a bit more unique, the New Year's Eve celebration at the American Museum of Natural History is a great choice. They often host a family-friendly party with activities, live music, and a countdown to midnight. The pricing varies, but it generally includes admission to the museum and the special events, making it a fun and educational experience. In Central Park, while the midnight run is more geared towards runners, the park itself can be a great place to celebrate with family. There are often smaller gatherings and fireworks displays in different parts of the park, and it's generally less crowded than Times Square. Overall, these venues offer a mix of festive atmosphere, family-friendly activities, and more manageable crowds, making them excellent alternatives to the bustling Times Square celebration.
Given the various family-friendly options you've mentioned, what tips do you have for first-time attendees to ensure they have a smooth and enjoyable experience at these alternative venues, especially in terms of planning and preparation?
For first-time attendees looking to celebrate New Year's Eve at these alternative venues, there are several tips to ensure a smooth and enjoyable experience. First, plan ahead and check the event details well in advance. For instance, if you're heading to Brooklyn Bridge Park or Prospect Park, know that these events are usually free, but some areas might require tickets for special viewing sections. Make sure to secure any necessary tickets or reservations early to avoid last-minute hassles. First-time attendees should also be aware of the timing and logistics. Arrive early to secure a good spot, especially if you're looking for a prime viewing area for the fireworks. Bring warm clothing, as it can get quite chilly, especially near the water or in open spaces like parks. Another important tip is to check the event schedule. Many of these celebrations include live music, food vendors, and other activities before the countdown to midnight. Knowing what to expect can help you plan your evening better and make the most of the event. In terms of transportation, plan your route in advance. Public transportation options might be limited or more crowded than usual, so consider using ride-sharing services or walking if possible. Also, be prepared for security checks, especially in larger venues. Finally, be flexible and patient. While these alternative venues are generally less crowded than Times Square, they can still get busy. Enjoy the atmosphere, take in the sights and sounds, and be prepared for any unexpected delays or changes. By being well prepared and informed, you can ensure a fun and memorable New Year's Eve celebration at any of these family-friendly venues.
Let's move on to the popular venues for New Year's Eve celebrations in NYC. Can you give us an overview of the different types of parties available, such as nightclub events, family-friendly gatherings, and rooftop parties, and what people can expect in terms of atmosphere and pricing?
When it comes to New Year's Eve celebrations in NYC, the city offers a diverse array of parties and events to cater to all tastes and preferences. For those looking for a vibrant nightlife experience, nightclub events are a popular choice. These parties often feature top DJs, live performances, and an energetic atmosphere that keeps the celebration going well into the early hours of the new year. Venues like Marquee, Lavo, and the Top of the Strand are known for their upscale ambiance and high-energy parties. Expect to pay a premium for these events, with ticket prices ranging from a few hundred to several $1,000s, depending on the venue and the level of exclusivity. On the other end of the spectrum, family-friendly gatherings are perfect for those who want to celebrate with their loved ones in a more relaxed setting. As I mentioned earlier, places like Brooklyn Bridge Park, Prospect Park, and the American Museum of Natural History host events that are tailored for families. These events typically include live music, food vendors, and fireworks displays, all in a welcoming and safe environment. The atmosphere is festive but laid back, and the pricing is generally more affordable, with many events being free or low cost. Rooftop parties offer a unique blend of sophistication and celebration. These events provide stunning views of the city skyline, often accompanied by live music, champagne toasts, and gourmet food. Venues like 235th and the Top of the Strand are popular for their rooftop parties, which can range in price from a few hundred to a few $1,000s per person, depending on the amenities and the view. Overall, whether you're looking for a high-energy nightclub, a family-friendly gathering, or a sophisticated rooftop party, NYC has something for everyone to ring in the new year in style.
Let's explore some of the lesser-known but unique local traditions that make New York City's New Year's Eve celebrations special. Can you tell us about the Brooklyn Bridge Walk at midnight and the Mummers Parade in Brooklyn, and what makes these events so unique?
When it comes to lesser-known but unique local traditions in New York City's New Year's Eve celebrations, there are a couple of events that stand out for their distinct charm and community spirit. First, there's the Brooklyn Bridge Walk at midnight. Although it's not a formally organized event, it has become a popular unofficial tradition. People often gather at the Brooklyn Bridge to watch the fireworks over the Manhattan skyline and to take in the breathtaking views of the city. This walk is unique because it offers a more intimate and less crowded alternative to the bustling Times Square. The atmosphere is casual and festive, with many people bringing their own champagne and noisemakers to celebrate the start of the new year. Another unique tradition is the Mummers Parade, but it's actually more associated with Philadelphia than Brooklyn. However, if you're looking for something similar in Brooklyn, you might be interested in the smaller community-driven parades and processions that take place in various neighborhoods. For instance, some Brooklyn neighborhoods host their own New Year's Eve parades, often featuring local bands, community groups, and festive costumes. These events are highly community-oriented and offer a warm, welcoming atmosphere that reflects the local culture and spirit. These local traditions add a layer of diversity and community engagement to New York City's New Year's Eve celebrations, making the city's festivities even more rich and vibrant.
Given the unique local traditions you mentioned, what tips do you have for first-time attendees who want to experience these lesser-known events, such as the Brooklyn Bridge Walk or the community-driven parades in Brooklyn, and how can they make the most of these experiences?
For first-time attendees looking to experience the unique local traditions like the Brooklyn Bridge Walk or the community-driven parades in Brooklyn, there are a few tips to make the most of these events. First, do some research ahead of time to understand the specifics of each event. For the Brooklyn Bridge Walk, know that it's not an officially organized event, so you won't find any formal guidelines or designated meeting points. However, you can join the informal gatherings at the bridge by arriving early to secure a good spot. Bring warm clothing, as it can get chilly, and consider bringing your own champagne and noisemakers to add to the festive atmosphere. For the community-driven parades in Brooklyn, look for local event listings or community group announcements to find out the exact routes and times. These events are often advertised through local newspapers, social media, or community boards. Showing up early can give you a better view, and engaging with the local participants can enhance your experience. Another tip is to be respectful of the local communities hosting these events. These are often small, neighborhood gatherings, so being mindful of the local culture and traditions is important. Participate in the spirit of the event, and don't hesitate to ask locals for more information or directions. Finally, be prepared for a more laid-back and spontaneous atmosphere compared to the highly organized events in Times Square. These local traditions offer a unique and authentic way to celebrate New Year's Eve, and embracing their informal nature can make for a truly memorable experience. By being open to new experiences and respectful of the local community, you can fully enjoy these lesser-known but vibrant celebrations.
Thank you for tuning in to Chatbotcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it engaging. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update, and visit us at www.chatbotcasts.com to explore more exciting episodes. See you next time, and happy listening.